Hey there, Flying Bison Podcast listeners. We want to hear from you. Please take a moment to complete our survey. Let us know what you think of the show. And as a thank you for your time, we're offering a 15% off coupon for anything in our merch store to anyone who completes the survey. But more importantly, this is a chance for you to tell us what you like about the show and what you think we could improve on. And it's also going to be an opportunity to let us know if there are any other games you'd like to see us play in the future. You heard that right. We're cooking up some new things and we want your input. So please let us know your thoughts by clicking the link to the survey at the top of the show notes. It takes about 4 minutes and it would really help us out a lot. Thank you. Air, water, earth, fire. For hundreds of years, the four nations have lived in harmony. The Avatar, master of all four elements, has always been responsible for maintaining the peace. But Avatar Rozuk passed away 13 years ago, and now the four nations look to the air nomads to reveal the next Avatar. But the world is met with silence. 5 young heroes stopped a secret Fire Nation invasion on their way to deliver the news of the air nomad genocide to Ba Sing Se. Now the world knows of the loss of the air nomads, and both the water tribes and the Earth Kingdom prepare for all-out war. But as harmony is dissolved, our young heroes need to address the agitated spirits and bring peace back to the world. Hello, welcome to another episode of the Flying Bison Podcast. I am Justin Nita, your GM. I'm joined with 4 amazing players. More on that in just a second. Nick Coplin playing Chae Launcher, Steve Durgan playing Ren, Johnny Button playing Osa, and Danny Wickman playing a Rozuk Launcher. Now, last week we played Bad News, Badder News. Today we're just playing Worser News.
It's really not fun.
We're inventing words.
There was a massive storm that hit California, and Monroe is fine. She's safe and fine. Unfortunately, her office is not, and she is not at her house right now, and so she will not be joining us tonight, unfortunately. We miss her very dearly because she also had technical trouble last week. So it is what it is. Life happens. Sometimes you just got to roll with the punches. And I get to kill a character with no repercussions. So
no, until next session she makes.
Until next session, then she'll come back, and we'll have 2 resurrected characters. I saw this question. I thought it was so funny that I took a screenshot of it. And I was like, I'm going to ask the guys that on the start of the episode. Let's just say I walk into a toy store and I see a Johnny Button action figure. What 2 accessories come with the Johnny Button action figure? And the same for each of you. I see you as an action figure. What are the 2 accessories you come with?
Now, does Johnny answer for himself,
No.
or are we in? Oh, okay.
No, you can each answer for yourself. What are the 2 accessories your action figure comes with?
A book and a toilet. I love to read and I've got IBS. A book and a toilet.
Do you read on the toilet?
Actually, no.
Really? That seems
wow,
like
you can't use the objects at the same time.
I'm a bit of a germaphobe. I
Respect.
clinically have anxiety and OCD, and so I have real trouble with germs, and so I don't like the idea of my books getting that close to fecal matter.
Poo-poo books.
There you go.
Poo-poo books.
Respect for the books.
Yeah.
And for
I have
people
the
who use them
same
besides
feeling
you,
about books
maybe.
specifically. So I
Just
get
books.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I also use my
bathroom
phone,
books
which I
probably
know
get
is
nasty.
gross. Yeah.
The phone's also pretty gross too. Do you just sit there, Johnny, in silence?
I mean,
Meditate.
sometimes, yeah.
Okay, all right. We don't have to
a
dive more
refuge
into
moment.
your-
Most of the time he
Yeah.
sings. He just belts on out, you know.
I may or may not have bathroom-specific Bluetooth headphones that are just for me to listen to podcasts when I'm in there. And
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Just get
for me to know
your
for
poo-poo
when I-
podcasts.
Yeah.
Poo-poo podcast.
Okay, but also, can I have one of the same objects as Johnny? Because I also have
Sure,
IBS.
of course. There you go. You can have a toilet.
First of all, another check mark in the box that I'm just like an accidental clone of Johnny, in no way in appearance, obviously, but like and everything else.
What would your second
Kinda freaked me
accessory
out.
be, Nick?
Just existential dread. Just what does that look like? I don't know, but it comes with it.
There's
But it
just
comes
like
with
a
it.
shroud.
Just an anxious cat.
Personified, yeah.
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 That's endearing.
My cat with actual anxiety.
There you go.
There you go.
Love it. Oh, this is hard.
I
Dice would definitely. I have a
think
dice.
dice.
Uh-huh.
Dicey.
Dice bag.
And a dice bag. Yeah, a dice bag. I think maybe maybe depression, probably.
Just a dark cloud.
Another dark shroud, yeah.
Yeah.
Cloud. You can have a rain cloud, Justin. Would you like a rain cloud?
Can it be a rainbow? Can I have a rainbow afterwards? Like to
Yeah, if you want to
Three
like slide it
accessories.
open so that
Yeah.
the rainbow emerges
But you only
from
get two
between
accessories.
clouds. It's one accessory.
It's one
Just has-
accessory.
Just has
It's
a little
an accessory
slide.
that turns into
Does
another
cool
thing.
Stuff. Yeah.
It represents not only depression, but also the work that you do on yourself and the medicine you take to fight that depression.
Not only
Yeah.
represents
It's
depression,
just like a
but the
transformer
promise that
is
God
one
made to
toy,
the world.
not two.
It's true. A transformer is one toy.
It's
I think I would probably choose the Ark of the Covenant and a yo-yo.
Let's not ask any follow-up questions about either of those.
Yeah.
All right, Steve.
Steve,
Can I suggest? Okay,
No.
no.
A guitar? No, we can ask more questions on Danny when we have our little sideshow forthcoming.
That's still on the
I need
books.
help. I need help with the second object.
So you said a guitar.
Yeah.
Did you like wear a guitar in like a guitar case backpack like to school every day?
No,
Oh, you weren't that kid? Okay.
I brought it sometimes, and it did go over the shoulder. Yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah,
Guitar
But
and a
not often
the action figure be holding a little Kermit the Frog toy.
because of my voice.
Which in no way
Yeah.
sounds like Kermit the Frog.
It
Let's
doesn't.
establish
It
that.
doesn't. It just. I don't know how that became a thing.
I think Steve's other object would be a 3/4 zip fleece pullover.
Oh yes, 100%. Yes, absolutely. He wears
I
that all the time.
accept.
I actually
Yeah,
haven't
except
not
uniform.
seen him in that. So
Do you always? I think he wears it every recording.
yeah,
They're probably super comfortable.
We should
I'm
look
sure they
back.
are.
We should I'm gonna look back.
3/4 zip fleece pullover.
You're such a sales bro, Steve.
What? Did that voice sound salesy? Was it like, hey?
No, and the 3/4 zip, like that's just what all sales bros wear. 3/4.
It's like the scene in
Zip,
Psycho
man.
where the guys are talking about the business cards. It's like that.
It's exactly like that.
American Psycho.
Wonderful.
Psycho's
Well,
a fucking yeah, I know.
I don't. Steve, what do you think Monroe's action figure would come with? I don't know. You know her the best out of all of us, I think.
Do I? Or have you all been having secret
Since-
cool hangouts without me?
I mean, yes, but we still want you to
Yeah.
feel.
That's why I
You
asked.
still
you.
want me to
let you
feel
know
like the
about those. It would
resident
defeat the
expert
purpose.
on Row?
A trophy because she's a winner, and a heart because she's full of love.
Oh, Danny, that's so sweet. That's so
Well,
sweet.
we know that Monroe would be very interested in a Rue plushie.
She has
so I
mentioned that
wouldn't-
on more than one occasion.
Yes, I would not mind inserting that as an accompanying object. Thinking about all the cool stuff in Rose's room.
She's a very cool
Oh.
person.
Maybe a large detailed replica of the Titanic. So that would be a very expensive action
okay.
figure with accompanying things. It's like a full pack.
I think Monroe would have the most expensive action figure.
I
She would.
legitimately was fully expecting you to be like, a cup so she can drink beverages. It's her last second option.
What?
I don't know.
What?
And that's why you're cracking up. You're like, why did I have this intrusive thought?
Of a cup. All right. Wonderful.
A cup for drinking
I would have
beverages.
said brass knuckles.
Well, that's
Brass
great.
knuckles, you said?
Brass knuckles.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's basically her fighting style.
It is. Well, we'll have to ask her when she comes back next week what she thinks of our choices for what her accessories for her action figure would be.
Yeah.
We also have to figure out who she would cast as Leeko. A live action.
Yeah, the next banter is just us just questioning.
It's just asking all the past
Monroe.
questions. And then, yeah.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind.
interrogating her.
We haven't.
Monroe.
I mean, like we haven't seen her in like 2 weeks. Like I miss her.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I know.
sad. We miss her.
Sorry for the split second.
In the meantime, we will soldier on. We will keep telling Avatar Legends
Yes.
stories.
Do what we can.
Mr. Steve, do you have any words for our listeners?
I will say I'm slightly butthurt about being Mr. Steve when Olivia was called Tita Olivia, but like I just got mistered. Like I'm not even an uncle. And yeah. Anyway,
So now
hi,
we need to
no
explain
drama
what that
here on
even
the Flying
means.
Bison Podcast.
I'm gonna hold up.
yeah.
Hold up. I have to defend myself now.
Okay.
In my defense, in Abby's family, they don't call their uncles Tito.
Yeah.
The
Yep.
women are Tita, and the
Uncles
uncles
are
are
Mr.
just uncle.
Yeah, because they're all
And white
brothers.
cousins are just Mister.
And I'm just Mister.
And that is my lot in life.
Yep.
Wait, what does Rio call Danny?
Uncle Dan.
Uncle
Mr.
Danny.
Danny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mr.
That's the
Danny.
thing. I'm still not an
Mr.
uncle.
Danny.
Olivia
Sometimes they'll
immediately
sometimes they'll
got
just
like
call me
an
Danny.
auntie status. And anyway, that's what I get for being sick when I had to take care of Rio. I was just quarantined up in the top of your house. Like, don't bother, Mr. Steve. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody who supports our goofiness. We have made a bunch of changes to our Patreon, and we're excited to announce that we have a brand new tier. You can now help the show for $1 a month and join the I'm Just Happy to Be Here tier. So if you're considering supporting the show, it's easier now than ever. We wanted to make a $1 tier, and the link is in the show notes. And thank you for everybody who supports us.
What does that tier get you access to, Steve?
Well, if you must know, Justin,
I do.
we have made the written partner credit in the show notes of each episode available at that tier, as well as access to any live virtual meet and greets that we do and Patreon exclusive content that we make. So we're very excited to offer that.
Great. You're literally just happy to be here. It's like the bare bones
Yeah.
sort of.
Yeah. We're happy to
support
be
the show.
here.
Just
And
happy
we're
to be
happy you're here.
And we're happy you're here. Everyone's
Yeah.
happy. Depression, get out of here.
Rainbow mode. Rainbow mode.
Rainbow mode, rainbow mode.
Slide the
Quick.
clouds apart.
Quick, pull out the rainbow.
Cured. God.
Yeah, no.
Oh man,
we
if
gotta
only it
switch
worked
out.
that way. Only it
Switch
worked
out the
that
depression for Justin too. Just that I'm happy to be here shirt.
way. Actually, I ordered one earlier today.
Oh,
I ordered
Awesome.
an I'm just
Now
happy
you
to be
can
here
finally
shirt.
just be happy to be here.
Now I can finally just be happy to be here. Well, I think it's time. It's time to keep going
It is.
on this adventure that we're calling the Flying Bison Podcast. Last week, everyone tried to decide what to do about Osa's condition, and both Rozuk and Chae tried to comfort Ren, somewhat ineffectually. Ren responded by showing them how much he had grown by entering the spirit world and clearing the corruption around Osa. He instead offered Kavo, the spirit of corruption, the Song Dynasty instead. With Osa restored, the crew makes their way to Wan Chitong's library with the help of Mellor and Hin. Upon entering the library, Osa discovers a similar corruption infecting the spirit of knowledge and his library itself. And as the crew travels down into the depths of the library to find its heart, Rozuk remained higher up in an attempt to find information about his father, unbeknownst to everyone else. And while successful, he turned around only to find himself face to face with his own mother. But that is not where we're going to start. We're going to start at the bottom of the library, which I believe last week I had said is the point at which it meets contact with the spirit world. So it's much like the bookshelves are stone. There's a lot more vines and twigs and trees just jutting out randomly. And the corruption is much stronger here. So a lot of these stone bookshelves are exhibiting that similar dark purple energy that you've seen. Ren saw it in Osa, and you saw it with those little creatures that were guarding the staircase down. I want to know, what do you do to sort of get your bearings? I think Osa had used his ability to sort of sense where he thinks the corruption might be, and you guys started walking in that direction. Just tell me how you get your bearings. Is there any conversation happening amongst you all?
So we're looking for a heart?
I mean, at this point, I think we just look for where the corruption's the thickest.
And then blow it up?
And then we do whatever we can.
I feel like that's all that we ever have when we go up against these spirits.
It's difficult.
Ren looks around. Does anything look particularly bad, Justin?
Why don't you assess the situation?
Don't tell me what to do.
All right, that's fine.
Oh,
Fair
right.
enough.
You're the GM. I gotta get back in the zone. All right. Let us assess the situation. Okay. A lovely 5.
That's a lovely, lovely 5. There you go. Okay, on a 5. This is perfect. Because the corruption, as you walk down this section of the library, is overwhelming. Even for those of you who don't have the same sort of spiritual attunement that Osa has, even to some extent Ren, while he's done some spiritually things, isn't as attuned as Osa is. You can feel, Chae, even you, how spiritually oppressive this area is. And then you hear Leeko. She is looking down a corridor of books.
What?
No.
What'd you see?
Mom? And she just books it and starts taking lefts and rights. And
they go.
Wait.
I instinctually reach out and I grab Chae and Ren's shoulders, worried one of them's going to run after her. And I just say, we keep going. If we chase her, it takes longer for us to fix this. If we fix this, we help her.
We can't even yell. Ren looks warily up at the place we came from.
You had to grab onto Chae, and you feel him still pulling. And he doesn't really relax, but he... All right. Which way are we going?
I point to down the corridor. It's clear that the corruption is getting thicker and thicker, and I point down and I say, we keep going that way. We try to stay together.
She'll be okay.
She knows how to take care of herself.
You got me there. All right. Wait. Where's Rozuk?
You have to be kidding me.
Was he gone this whole time? Does he usually run off?
He doesn't usually run off.
Yeah, I didn't see him go.
I don't think he even came down here with us.
But the plan stays the same. We need to fix the corruption.
Right. He'll be okay too, right? Probably. He
If we
knows how to
fix
take care of
this,
himself.
I mean, he's done some impressive stuff. I'm sure he'll be able to take care of himself too.
Right.
if anyone sees any mothers or fathers or whatever, just don't run after them.
I would probably run away.
Same.
Yeah.
We agree. No matter what we see, we try to stay together. And if any of us runs off, whoever's left keeps going until we find the heart and we fix this.
Right.
Got it.
And as you keep walking, Osa, down one of these corridors, you see just pointing at you is a ghostly visage of your sister.
What?
What?
And we cut up to Rozuk, who is just turned around to face his mother. And Rozuk, one thing stands out, which is wild to you. It's the first thing you notice. It is that your mom does not have a scar on her face.
Yup.
Rozuk, it's good to... What are you doing here at Wan Shi Tong's library?
Rozuk kind of standing there. As he saw this, he kind of like jumped back a little bit, and he had already put the book in his bag. So sort of kind of keeping that behind his person, trying to like not draw attention to it. He backs up a bit. What are you?
Surely you recognize your own mother, Rozuk. The last time we talked, you asked me about your father.
Rozuk is really studying what's taking place. Is there any kind of similarities whatsoever to what he experienced in that beached ship that he, Osa, and Leeko explored when he saw that image of Dosa? Is there any kind of similarities to that?
Why don't you assess the situation?
Okay, fine. I'm rolling these.
The Avatar dice? The official Avatar dice?
They have little earthbendy little symbols on there.
Danny, why don't
So
you
when I
use
roll
the
a 6?
Firebender.
Why don't you use the firebending dice?
No. I'll use one earth, one fire, one.
Okay, because you're...
Oh, I should do that too.
That's dope. I like that.
I love you guys.
Launcher roll. A 4 and a 4 plus
Wow.
creativity. So a 9.
Wow, a 9. Go ahead and ask me a single question. Just one.
Oh, no, I'm actually angry, so it's just a 7.
Okay.
Okay.
Still,
One
ask me
single
a
question.
single question.
How are you doing, Justin?
I have to answer honestly. I'm a little stressed. Rio stopped
Okay.
napping, so
Oh
I'm a little, yeah.
Just indefinitely on strike.
My
Just
camera just
indefinite.
turned off. That's annoying. All right. So, what are the biggest threat? What you can use? Because I guess that's one question.
Answer me these questions 3.
What here can I use to draw this thing away from me?
Ooh.
I wish,
like get it to leave you alone.
Yeah. Just don't say put the book back.
I will answer your question. The question you've asked me, as well as like the context of like how similar is this thing to what I experienced on the
Okay.
ship.
Heck yeah.
That was far creepier than this was. Whatever that creature was on the beached ship, it came from outside of you, right? It was its own being. When you are trying to study this thing, you get the sense that it is somehow connected to you.
Nick's face. Ugh.
And so the best way to get it away from you is to dive into what it wants.
Whoa.
he
Resolving
had to
whatever
answer that honestly.
resolving whatever conflict it has is the best way to get it to leave you alone.
But I feel like he's lying to us.
Right? And we're suspicious
throw an
John.
object?
Be lying.
Or make your voice sound like it's someone else from the other side of the bookshelf.
Oh,
Okay,
hey, look at these
so-
books over here.
No, we should have that
Look
to
at
the
all these
narrative. Like,
books. You like books, right? You're a library person. You like books. Look at these books. Okay, so Rosa kind of came to that conclusion because the spirits told him that it is so.
It's not a
So-
spiritual feeling. I think it's just a
No.
it's just a gut. It's just your gut feeling at this moment, right?
Mhm. Rozuk says, "What do you want?"
I want what every mother wants, Rozuk. I want to make sure that my boys are okay. And you see a scar start to grow on her face.
Gross. Really doesn't say that out loud. He thinks it. I'm completely safe, Mom. Like I said, you don't need to worry about me. I can protect myself now.
Oh. I've always known that about you, Rozuk. You're my little firebender. And all the while she's talking, this scar is just growing over her face. You've always been so fiery and passionate and angry. No, I'm not worried about you protecting yourself. I'm worried about everyone else that you claim to protect. And at this point, the scar is just covering her. And then she just starts lighting on fire. Do you remember the day you burned me, Rozuk?
Rozuk had been like backing up this entire time, and as this happens, like his face just lit by this flame. Like there are like tears in his eyes now, and his jaw is just dropped completely. And he just turns around and starts sprinting the other direction, just runs away from this.
And I will cut to them in just a second, because last week you rolled a miss or a complication on finding this information. You rolled a hit,
yeah.
but there was a complication, and it is now that I'm going to read what that is. I'm going to read it from the book. I've got Wanshi Tong's Adventurer's Guide. Danny, on a 7 to 9, you are caught by a knowledge seeker.
Oh no,
Which-
the little foxy boys.
Well, they're not foxes right now. You have encountered
No.
them already. They aren't foxes right now.
Oh.
But
They're all my mom.
it's only a matter of time before Wanshi Tong comes looking for you. So you run down a few of these corners, these bookshelves, and then you hear as a massive owl lands in front of you. And where all of the like white pluming on this owl is, it's just this dark purple energy. I see you, Rozuk Launcher. And its head like turns around 200 or 360 degrees to look at you again. And we will cut to the bottom of the library. I'm assuming you kept walking. Also, when you look back, your sister's not there anymore.
Should we like pick up the pace?
Can we run? And
I would prefer that.
Starts
Yes.
running.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys just start running. I love it.
This place is creepy.
You know, as we're running, like Osa's just like, Kino's dead. She shouldn't be here. I don't know why she's here.
She's
You
not
never
here.
told us about who?
Yeah, I don't know who that is either, but she's not here. There's no one here. There's a bunch of demon foxes, and there's probably a giant knowledge spirit coming after us. We're just running. What happens?
That's it. No, that's it. You're done for. No. As you're running, you see sort of what Osa's talking about. Because as you're running, like as you pass by these breaks in the bookshelves, you all see figures. Osa, you see Kino, and she's pointing at you, and you just hear her shout, "You're the reason I died!" Chae, you are running past, and you see one of the bookshelves, and it's your mom. And she goes, "I left you with Naozao on purpose." Ren, you see...
Wait, can I react to that?
Oh, do you want to?
Yes. He's not going to stop. He's not going to slow down. You said the shelves were stone, right?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Yeah, he just crushes that entire row of shelves onto each other.
I love it.
He just slams them into each other.
I love it. And as you get to the next one, she's there again.
Oh.
He just keeps going. He doesn't keep doing it.
On your side, you see both your parents, Ai and Song, and Gimo saying, "You are a disappointment to the Song family, Ren." Also, you see...
That's okay.
Oh,
Run sprinting. Definitely running faster in response to that, but does say that out loud.
This library sucks.
Also, you see Ketsun and Aaron, and they're like, "You're the reason we're not airbenders. Or you're the reason we're not airbending masters. You ruined this for us." Chae, you see Rozuk.
Hey, there's Rozuk.
He goes, "Should have stayed with Naozao, Chae."
It's not Rozuk.
Chae doesn't know.
Just keep running. Now, Justin, do we see what each other sees or hear what each other hears at all? Am I hearing these other voices calling out?
It's a great question.
It is a great question. And I will make a decision on that right at this moment, which is, yeah, sure, why not?
Okay.
Oh.
So it's getting
I feel
these
like the Rozuk one
little
was...
cacophonous here, the layers of like...
Yes. That's
with
exactly.
Rozuk's voice,
And
we
so
definitely turned. Like, huh?
Yeah.
that's what I was going to say. Ren, like the last thing you see is not someone talking. You just see Osa's lifeless body splayed out how it was at the bottom of the Fortress of Ash. And all these visions and sounds just start raising and getting droning as you continue to run down to this library. And eventually you get to a stone wall. And also you can feel that behind this wall is like whatever is causing this.
Chae doesn't even slow down. He runs directly through it and just bends the wall out of his way, just blasting it forward.
You Kool-Aid man?
I Kool-Aid man that wall.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Except he doesn't say that at all. He's on the brink.
As
He's like just carrying Osa and friend through at this point.
as you crash through and bend the wall down and then back up, the cacophony ceases. And in this room is a giant circular library. There's like circular bookshelves lining this entire like room, and in the center of this room is a single book, and you can see that it's like flipping through, like it'll turn a page and then it'll turn a page, and it is just in the center of this room on a pedestal.
Ren tries to pry himself to the front of the other two and get a glimpse of what's on the pages.
Hey, be careful.
I'll tell you. You can see that it is a list of book names. Sometimes they're like legitimate book titles. Sometimes it's just like a summary of like what is written in this journal or book or whatever. And as you get closer to it, you can see that it also has like a bookshelf number and like where you would be able to find it in Wan Shi Tong's library. And as it's turning pages, you're seeing it like materialize new names of books. And then occasionally you'll see a name disappear. Like this like black energy will flash and the book just disappears.
It's some kind of a record. I think it's of everything here, but it's changing.
Does it seem like the corruption is centralized on this book?
Absolutely. Because it is radiating this dark energy.
I think Ren instinctually puts out his hands to his sides as though to try to like hold back anybody from getting as close to the book as he is, and just says,
"We don't do anything unless everyone agrees to it. Okay? Please."
Do either of you have an idea of how to stop it?
No.
Well, you'd start with the most basic option. We destroy the book. That probably would kill Wan Shi Tong. Well, I actually don't know how that works for spirits, but it would probably destroy the library, which would not be good because we were in the library.
Yeah, I don't think we destroy the book.
Yeah, we could try closing the book. It is writing itself and changing itself. Maybe changing it or closing it would stop that. What is it? So Wan Shi Tong is the spirit of knowledge, right? The spirit of knowledge has been corrupted. What is the corruption of knowledge?
Lies? Or maybe even forgetting?
Forgetting.
I don't know.
I mean, there's lots of ways you could corrupt knowledge.
But there's ways to corrupt knowledge, but what is the corruption of knowledge? What is the perversion of knowledge itself? Not of a fact or a fact, you know, someone can tell you an incorrect fact, but that's not, the corruption of knowledge. That's someone just telling you something that's wrong.
What are you getting
When used
at,
properly,
Chae?
knowledge, we have to purify it somehow. When you use knowledge correctly, it can help improve lives. It can help people, live fuller and more complete lives. It can save people from, certain diseases and disasters.
I mean, the corruption of all of those ideas is elitism, zealotism. These ideas that you have knowledge no one else is allowed to share in, right? You hoard it, keep it away.
Keep it away. So, why would you have a library if you just wanted to know things? A library is for sharing knowledge, right? All of the books are disappearing and being replaced with random bits here, right?
I think so.
So he's corrupted, so he wants to be the only one who knows the things that he knows.
So do we just start reading?
There's
Well,
a
it's
lot
starting
to
here.
read.
What if this sounds crazy, but we can expand on the idea. What if we start copying down the actual books from the list?
I mean, I can't write as fast as those pages are turning.
Osa, does anything in here seem safe to touch?
I mean, we're in the heart of the corruption. I don't think it matters if we touch anything, Ren.
Okay. Things in this record are disappearing. Have we seen any books disappear?
Ren looks around.
I'll tell you. So, like, you looked at the list of books, and there was the name of a book that just caught your eye for a moment, and you see it up on the shelf next to you. And when you look back at the ledger, the records, you see its name disappear. And when you look back, the book is still there, but it now has that purple energy. So your guess now is that all the like purple spots on the bookshelves you were seeing along the way are from this thing corrupting whatever knowledge is held inside of that book.
I think we have to take it. I think we have to cut it off from the rest of the library.
To save what remains?
Yeah.
I grab Ren's shoulders and turn him toward me. Can I try something?
Can you tell us what it is first?
I don't know how it works, but I can see into the spirit world sometimes, and I mean, you guys know that, but there's a new thing. I can learn things. I can see ways to help us, I think.
Will it hurt you?
No.
Ren puts his hands on your arms as well. And at first it just seems like a gesture of connection. But then his hand slides up your sleeve and he checks your arm for that black mark that was progressing.
It's probably like up to his like bicep now at this point.
Will it make that any worse?
Osa maintains eye contact, and you can see there's pure earnestness. I don't know. But we have to do something, Ren.
We are about to be down 5 team members. We might have to try it.
Ren swallows and nods
All right.
and then looks away.
Step back and close my eyes and just let a vision flood in and mark on my destiny track to have another worldly vision.
Think about what your question is while we cut up to Rozuk.
Rozuk's just having tea with Launchy Tongue.
And can you believe he told me that?
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
I know.
Juan, can I call you Juan? Is that okay?
Absolutely. We're
my
friends
God,
now.
Rozuk's already solved the problem. We're like, oh my god, we're all gonna die. Lunchtime just like, yeah, I'll fix that later. It's fine.
Oh God.
No, it is not that. Because it's his eyes stare at you with an intensity that you have never seen in your entire life before.
Rozuk, sort of like in a just split second decision, drops to the floor in a bow. Does he say anything?
Beg him not to kill you. That's all you got, man. Just
Yeah, he drops to the floor in a bow. And he will wait a bit to see if he says anything.
There's an awkward silence. I'm going to still eat you, you know.
Without even looking at him, trying to keep his eyes off him, Rosa goes, "Oh, great spirit. I came here only as a seeker of knowledge myself. But I will leave right now if that is what you want. And stop bothering you further. Oh, sire, man. Oh, please don't eat me."
And you can feel his face come up right next to yours, even though you're bowing.
No.
How many of you are there? How did you get into my library? What are you doing here, Rozuk Launcher? And the most important question of all, why did you burn your mother's face?
All right. It's a pretty loaded question. There was like three in that one sentence, so it's
I do not have the patience for your jokes. Answer my questions.
I found your library with the help of the local sandbenders in the desert. It was just me. They let me in here. I am alone.
I mean, you gotta give me a trick.
You literally have to.
Yeah, I think. Yep.
You gotta give me a trick.
Let's do some trickage. Yeah, let me make sure there's no. I am not insecure, so my trickage is at full power.
You're
Oh,
lucky
full
there's
power
no such
trick.
thing as disadvantage.
Full power trickage.
Lying to the
What?
spirit. No. So you're lucky there's no such thing as disadvantage. in Avatar.
Yeah, right.
I know.
I'm
I mean,
trying to lie to us. Yeah.
I'm fine. I don't think there's any specific disadvantage. There's
Yeah.
Except the spirit of knowledge
spirit of knowledge, but
in a library.
let's see. Let's just see what Danny rolls. Let's just see what Rozuk does.
Real quick, you don't think me and Wan Chi Tong have any shared cultures, do you?
This is gonna come off maybe a little controversial, but no.
Okay, just thinking. I mean, maybe Rozuk was a bird watcher in middle school or something. You never know.
Even then, even then,
Roll the dice, Danny.
Okay.
Tong's not a bird. Just looks like one.
Okay. A whopping 4.
Oh my god.
oh no!
My boy's a goner.
Hit a wing smashes the bookshelf next to you. Books go flying. I told you I do not have the patience for your human frivolities. I know you've brought more people. I sense them.
Rozuk will get up and like put his hands out in front of him and back away and like, Wan Chi Tong, what are you doing? Don't you value knowledge you keep here? Why do you only seem focused on eating people?
His face contorts for a moment before he gathers himself and says, "For too long, I have watched over this knowledge and the library, allowing people to bring knowledge and take knowledge freely. Knowledge is not a fact. It is not a piece of the world. It is a belief. Knowledge is what we believe about ourselves and the world we live in. For too long, I have let that be free.
And now, I am in charge of what people know. And as you're backing up, you back up into your father, your adopted father, Nazao Launcher. Hey, Rozuk. Library, huh?
Rozuk will, in shock, turn around, look at his father. He'll look back at Wanchi Tong and say, Wanchi Tong, look at this. I don't know you. Alright, my friend probably knows about you so much more than I do, but I think I know for a fact this, gesturing to like Naozao, this is not you. Okay, this is someone else. We're only trying to help you.
And I'm just showing you what you believe about yourself. And Naozao looks you dead in the eye, Rozuk, and goes, I let Sanfen take you. I've got no use for you at all. You are worthless, Rozuk Launcher. You will always be worthless.
At this, Rozuk turns red with anger in response to that. And now, thinking about just how to get out of the situation, is Rozuk near? Can we say that when Rozuk had been backing up, you said Wanchi Tong kind of like smacked a bookshelf. Can we say that Rozuk is partly like in a row? Like it's maybe partly in between two shelves?
Totally, yeah.
So Rozuk, red with anger, will sort of and just shout out. And Justin,
Danny.
as Rozuk shouts out, can he, I know if he's never done this before, can he breathe out a bout of flame around him, like everywhere? Because I want to burn the bookshelves around me and try to just create this mayhem and havoc and just run away and maybe distract Wanchi Tong long enough.
Why don't you push your luck?
Okay. I'm pushing. Push it to the limit. Sorry,
That's what you want?
I'm channeling my inner Efron. I need it. Oh my god. What is push your luck with? Passion?
Passion.
So that is an 11.
Whoa.
Look, the six is a little flamey symbol here.
Oh.
Avatar themed dice.
Let's
Yeah.
Sorry, dude. That's actually the one.
start with a few
I'm just kidding.
things.
It's the 6.
Sorry, what?
Let's start with a few things. When you had that miss earlier, introduced a little narrative thing based on your response, I would like for you to mark a condition. I'd like for you to mark insecure.
Okay.
Seems appropriate.
Yeah.
You just shout. And I don't even know if you're trying to firebend. I think you're just shouting in anger. And then all of a sudden, everything around you is in flames. And Wanchi Tong takes off into the sky and swoops down and sort of knocks you onto your feet. I would like for you to mark a fatigue.
Knocks me onto my feet.
Knocks you off of your feet.
Okay, I was going to say.
You scramble back up.
I'm like, oh, thanks for picking me up, Wanchi Tong.
And as he flies away to turn back around, you got a moment to escape.
Mm-hmm.
So you run and you start running down bookshelves, and eventually you get out of his line of sight. He is still swooping and flying around the library, though, looking for you. I know you're here. I will find you. And as Rozuk is
maybe crouched, sitting behind a bookshelf, just trying to stay out of Wan Shi Tong's sight. Osa, what is the question you would like for me to ask?
How can I separate Kavo's corruption from Wan Shi Tong in the library?
What a wonderful question. You have seen some of this vision already when you first came here. You saw Iron leave a part of Kavo here in the library to infect it. The corruption which we as players now know is that Wan Shi Tong knows in his deepest being that knowledge is now not freely given. That the protection of knowledge, the hoarding of knowledge, is what is needed. That he is the master of knowledge and no one else should have it. This record is somehow tied to Wan Shi Tong's spiritual being. If you can find some way, something that reminds him that knowledge should flow freely, perhaps you can wake him up from his corruption.
Simple task. Good.
Yes.
Yeah, I relay that to the two of you. Just say, we need to find some way to remind him why he built this library in the first place.
You mean we need to give
Kavo
him a reason to think it's a good idea to share knowledge with mortals?
It's not just that. It's more than that. At the core of who he is, Wan Shi Tong believes that knowledge should be shared, but Kavo has come in and convinced him otherwise. We need to remind Wan Shi Tong of who he is and separate him from who Kavo wants him to be.
I think I have an idea.
What is it?
I'm going to try to write something into the book thing here. Or, well, maybe I'll write something and then put it on the shelf and then enter it into the book. So he sits down and he writes out. Like, he's not necessarily trying to hide it, but he is trying to move with quickness and not really explaining what he's doing. So he writes something out on just a piece of parchment and then rolls it up and shoves it onto the shelf, makes note of the location, and writes it into, flips forward a few extra pages and writes it into the main book.
What did you write?
Chae and
As
Leeko
quickly as he
forever.
could. 5 ever. No. As quickly as he could, as quickly as I can, I write a summary and with as much filigree as possible, a story of a man who receives a piece of knowledge. He takes this knowledge and takes solace in it and takes comfort in it. And he wants to hold on to it, but he holds on to it too long and too tightly. And it starts to burn him from within. And he keeps on holding on to it because it still brings him comfort, even though it's hurting him. And it starts to hurt the people around him. It starts to lead him to hurting the people around him. But he keeps on squeezing on tighter because it still brings him comfort. And at the end of it all, the man is left with no one around him and only the twisted, mangled up form of this piece of knowledge that has been crushed in his hands. Kind of fairy tale-esque, but clearly inspired by certain events in Chae's own life.
Go ahead and push your luck.
That's fair. This is 14. I rolled 2 6s.
Whoa! Wow.
I think that's the
That's
highest roll we've
impossible.
ever had on the show.
I think that might be
yeah.
the best roll. Yeah, that's up there. Wow, a 14.
That was the time for doing it. This is the first time I rolled these dice. That was pretty good.
It's pretty good. What does it cost Chae to scrape by? I know. As soon as you write the name of this fable that you've just written in the book, the ledger, the record, starts to glow brightly. Much brighter and clearer and pure than the dark energy. And as it starts to tendril down into the ground, it starts to meet the resistance of this dark energy and overtake it. As you see this bright white start to envelop all of the darkness. And Chae, the last thing that you see is that now inside of the circular room, you see Rozuk. And the last thing you hear before this darkness envelops him, before he says something that you probably believe, Rozuk says, "I don't need you anymore, Chae." And the white light envelops this figure. And there's silence as the voices are quiet.
It's like pitch black in here now.
There's like a weird, you don't know how, it's almost as like sunlight is filtering through some unseen ceiling in here.
Did that work?
It looks like it.
Oh,
That was
I'm a genius.
great, Chae.
Chae just sits down, like real unsteadily. Just.
Oh, are you okay?
We just gotta stop doing spirit stuff, man.
You guys did great.
We all did great. You did great.
Yeah.
You feeling okay?
Yeah. I feel fine. I don't think anything weird happened. Weirder.
Well,
than
I think
the stuff we were here for.
than everything
Yeah.
else, right? Yeah. I think we need to talk about everything a little bit more. Maybe in a group setting.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
We owe you that much.
Yeah,
Let's go find the others, yeah?
Can I just sit here for a second?
And we cut up to Rozuk. Rozuk, you're trying to avoid the swooping of Wan Shi Tong. And eventually, you like look down to the left and you don't see anything. And you start to run, and you run straight into him.
Oh God.
No more games, Rozuk. And he starts to unfurl his giant talons. And just as he is about to swipe at you, close your eyes, waiting for it to happen. Nothing happens.
Rozuk like opens one eye.
Was I just about to eat you?
Oh, they did it! Oh my God! Rozuk falls to the floor. Oh wow! Oh, you really were, sir. You were literally just. Oh, nice to meet you. He rolls out his hand. My name's Rozuk Launcher, and I'm really just happy to be here now.
He looks at your hand, and he just pats the top of it. This is how you shake hands in the human world.
Yeah,
yes.
I guess you just shake, just a little shake. Okay. Oh, I'm so. Please don't get mad. Please don't get mad. You were trying to eat me, so I might have burned some of your books.
What?
At this point, Rozuk just runs to the exit. Rozuk sprints to the exit.
Still running. Still running. Running from the real one.
You could have said anything.
If Rozuk is anything, he's honest. Sometimes.
He does not chase you. The rest, the rest of you. I mean, you still run because you don't know. He's not chasing you, but
I'm sprinting.
I would just say he's not chasing. Chae and Ren and Osa, you find Leeko, and she's just like cowering, like shaking under like behind one of the bookshelves. I saw my mom. Is that real? Is that my mom here? No, that can't be real, right?
Chae will crouch down next to her, facing her from the side, and say, "It was not real. You're all right." And he'll put his arm around her shoulders, and like,
Okay.
wait.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Did you guys do it?
Yep. Well, pretty sure.
Chae did it.
Nice.
Well, I couldn't have done it without Osa. Osa figured out what we needed to do.
Cool. Looks like everyone had their path today. What did you all see? Did you see anything too?
I didn't see anything.
Yeah, same.
I saw stuff.
Yeah, I did too. I can't talk about her.
Maybe we
prying.
can talk about it when we get Rozuk.
Yeah, let's go get Rozuk.
No pressure. You don't have to. I really didn't see anything. I'm not trying to lie to you guys.
Suspicious mind.
We all saw what each other
stories
saw.
up.
We know that.
Suspicious mind.
You make your way back up to the top where you first entered the library. And you see a giant owl who is like looking in the direction of like where you came in. He goes, "Did you bring that scared one? I'm assuming you're his friends."
Yeah. There's so many stairs.
The scared one was definitely ours.
I would ask that you would collect him and please leave my library.
Wait, we just got here. We just uncorrupted you.
And that is why I have not thrown you out myself.
May we offer you some kind of knowledge in exchange for what we came to learn?
And Wanchitong bows to you, Ren. I see that you are familiar with my ways. What do you have to offer?
We don't even get a freebie?
Ren tries to conceal a look of panic as his plan works, and he turns to the others and just kind of nods.
You know crystal bending forms?
I know all of the crystal bending forms.
Of course you do. Oh, I know. And he takes out another, I guess Chae just has parchment on him. He takes out a much larger scroll and starts drawing up the schematics of a steam engine.
Not an outhouse.
I'll pull out that scroll too, if that's helpful in any way.
I have huge
someone else
plans
can use
to build
this.
one of these inside a house.
Oh. I've never seen something like this before. Where did you
That's
come
pretty
across such knowledge?
The Fire Nation has invented machines of steel and steam that can accomplish great feats.
And what do you call this other tiny house?
Like the scroll fell open to the side or something. It's like, oh, that's... it's an earthbending scroll entirely about making an outhouse, which is a place where mortals relieve themselves.
You have to go to a tiny room by yourself to do that?
Well, other mortals don't like to be present, usually.
Your ways will always confound me.
The outhouse really did it more for you than the... This is the greatest invention of man.
I will take both.
That counts for 2, right?
He bows.
Thank God. All right.
The spirits just love going number 2, like around each other. He's like,
They don't have to
They
do
can-
that.
I guess
they
that's
take
implied.
group bathroom
Creatures.
trips.
I guess it's
Well, we don't
implied
know
now.
that.
I
The
guess
realm
it's
of
implied.
mystery, Danny. The realm of mystery.
Just let's have dookie parties.
Ren is like rifling through all of his things still.
You have provided knowledge. I will make an exception. The 2 pieces of knowledge will allow each of you to ask the spirit of knowledge one question. Alright, I do want to. Let's do this. There's a bargain with Wan Shi Tong move. When you bargain with Wan Shi Tong using your own valuable knowledge, roll with harmony. Chae, why don't you go ahead and roll with harmony?
Oh, don't make me do that.
I'm making you do it. I'll give you a +1 ongoing, though, for helping to clear the spirit corruption.
Oh. So 10 minus 1, 9, plus 1, 10.
Nice. On a hit, Wan Shi Tong is interested and allows you to freely investigate the library in exchange for your knowledge. On a 10+, he's particularly impressed, and he'll assign a knowledge seeker to help guide you to exactly what you seek. And, he says, for your bravery and assistance, I will allow you to each ask me one question, and you will receive an answer from the great spirit of knowledge himself.
Someone else want to go first? I was kind of cooking.
As Chae asks if someone else wants to go first, Osa just quickly steps up. And I step forward and I look Wan Shi Tong in the eyes and I say, what am I now?
Well, if that's not a time to reveal part of your destiny, I don't know what is.
Culmination of what you always were and what you're about to be.
So what everyone is for all of time, forever and everywhere.
Thanks
Yeah,
so
no, it just sounds
much.
deep, right?
Love it.
That's the BS a spirit would say, though. 100%.
He looks at you with those like dead owl eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of tilts his head. You are something new. I sense your connection to my brother. You will bring great change, Osa, to the cycle of rebirth. That is all I can see. I hope it is enough.
For now, I guess.
Ren steps forward.
You, young Kyoshi warrior, what will you ask of me?
Ex-Kyoshi warrior.
We never run from our past. Never can escape it completely.
That's unfortunate. Can I... Can I whisper my question to you? Is it okay if it's a secret?
I will oblige. And he leans his giant owl head down to your head.
Ren is like trembling as he realizes what he just asked for. He's like right up next to Wanshi Tong's enormous head.
What's the best way I can help Osa?
He will leave you. It is unavoidable. It is as sure as all knowledge is. But how he leaves you, that will be determined by how his friends stand by his side.
Ren's face falls.
Thank you.
You are free to explore if you want to take some time to think about what to ask me. Perhaps you can tell me what brought you to my library.
I suppose one of our questions has to be, a man named Iron came here. He's the reason you got corrupted.
Yes, I'm aware.
We need to hunt him down for obvious reasons. We need to know where he's going, what he's planning, anything you can contribute.
I will have my knowledge seekers take you to the books that he looked at right away.
Thank you. Can I still get my own personal question, or is that...
Yes.
Thank you. He bows deeply. Do you know anything about magma bending?
We have many books on the topic. It is not a form many earthbenders know. Once in 10 generations, perhaps, I can point you to the forms, but it requires a connection that I cannot teach you.
I figured. I bent it once, I just can't seem to do it again.
Perhaps the books will help.
I appreciate it.
You, O coward, do you have a question? Or was finding that book enough for you?
Everyone's like looking around.
I know you're there.
Rose like comes out from around the corner, like right around there. He's like, hey guys. I was just waiting.
Really quickly, Chae interjects. What book was he looking at?
He found a book on Fire Nation royalty.
Ooh. Chae says that out loud and looks at Rozuk expectantly.
Chae, you don't remember this, but you might. I don't know. You probably don't. But when we were in the Half Moon Hollow, we had found that firebending scroll, and then we found out that it had like royal origins, and we might have a chance of finding the other half of this scroll.
No idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. I was just really interested in finding out more about how I can more easily find the other half of this firebending scroll. He pulls out this firebending scroll clumsily. This one here.
You split off to do that?
That couldn't have waited until after we were safe.
That's not why.
Suspicious mind.
Suspicious mind.
Oh, we do need a sound effect for that.
A suspicious mind drop.
That is a 9, so I get to hold one against you.
Okay.
What did you just finish saying? Sorry. As I was
He
rolling.
said that he had he wanted to find a book on Fire Nation royalty to find out more about where he could find the other half of that firebending scroll, the firebending forms scroll.
I want to ask. Sorry, I want to ask what is this really about? Which is kind of an amalgamation of two of the questions. So I would argue that you could answer truthfully to either what are you truly feeling, or what do you really want right now.
Ask one. Get one.
Ask one of them. What do you really want out of this?
I mean, like, what do you really want right now?
Yeah.
If it's that, yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to say it the way Chae would say it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trying to channel my inner Jin to try to answer this without actually answering it.
Remember who you are.
Yes.
Or maybe you do answer it.
Maybe I do answer it. Is that what Chae said? Like, what do you actually want out of this book?
Yeah. What do you actually want out of this?
Rozuk kind of just puts the firebending scroll back and goes, Chae, now when I went to Ba Sing Se, I went there with this whole purpose of finding who I am. I've spent so long just focused on other people, and I never really gave myself a chance to discover who I am for myself. And I think this book can help me learn the things that I need to. He's rolling to attack me.
No. I was gonna roll to see if Chae could put it together. You're looking for your birth father, aren't you?
Rosa kind of like sighs and closes his eyes and goes, yeah. And in turn, I actually might find the other half of that scroll. So it's kind of a win-win. I mean,
Yeah, I guess you weren't necessarily lying about the scroll thing, but also that's a pretty big deal. You know, you're royalty, related to royalty. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
It does kind of answer some questions about Now Zhao freaking out about you.
Yup. Mm-hmm.
Wait, did you talk to him?
Yeah, did I tell you that? I don't remember.
Did you tell me that?
Yeah, I told you
I actually
that,
don't
yeah.
know. Oh, you definitely told me. Yeah, never mind.
There was still a lot more stuff
Okay.
going on, you know.
Yeah, sorry. Huh. Well, I'll take those magma bending scrolls. Or take a look at them. I'm not going to take them.
Will. Yes, you cannot
Make
take
copies.
anything from the library. We do not have
Fair.
a checkout process.
I can make like copies, all right. Like,
Yes, you can make copies, he says, not knowing if you're allowed to do that, but I'm saying
He's not even sure.
no one's ever
Rozuk,
asked.
no one's
Upon-
ever asked that before.
upon hearing that, Rozuk will say, because he knows that Wan Chang already knows he has the book. So he'll just go up to Wan Tong and sort of like grab the book out of his bag and hold it up, kind of get back to him.
Thank you. And he takes it in a hand and gives it to one of the knowledge seekers, who now you see is an actual fox. It's like a little spirit
Nice.
fox, and it grabs the book and takes it away.
In that case, Wan Tong, you asked if there's anything else I seek besides that book. I just want to know Where is my father? Right now.
There are some things that even the spirit of knowledge does not know. You will find your answers on No Chae Island.
No Chae. All right. Rozuk writes in his notebook, No Chae Island, and he spells it Nochai, and underneath it, he wrote a little coffee cup with an X on it. No Chae.
Where are we at, No Chae?
Were we ever at No Chae?
You've never been to No Chae. You have heard it before.
We heard
though.
stories about it, though. You tracking?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to.
Steve's got it. Steve remembers. You heard it from the merchant who sold you the half of that Fire Nation scroll.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is a
Already told
rollback.
that.
All right.
What
Yeah.
tall tales that man told.
What's tall tales?
Crazy
Hey,
things. he said.
Justin,
Yes.
would asking the spirit of knowledge about something I'm having trouble with count as seeking guidance from a mentor or powerful figure?
We can definitely do a scene where you do that. Probably, maybe like a little more intimate scene, just the two of
Okay.
you.
That's fair.
But absolutely, I love that. That's a great idea.
I just want to clear trouble. So.
Yeah. You gotta do it to do it. But I think for now, we can pick things up. I think we can do some more spirit stuff here in the library. He says, "This is Chenpo," and a little spirit fox comes up, and nuzzles up against Chae.
Oh.
He will guide you to the information you are seeking. Chenpo, first take them to where our last visitor went. And the fox just starts like bounding down these rows of books.
How much for him?
My assistants are not for sale. That would be slavery. It's generally frowned upon.
Yeah, well, I guess I wasn't sure of the level of. Anyways, we gotta go. Jeez.
Real quick, Justin, speaking of that, would you consider burning down 2 bookshelves in a spiritual knowledge library, breaking something important?
I would. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'll just
Yeah.
clear angry.
So he said he was
This-
going to let us just, like look around the library for other stuff too, as well as
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And we can, again, we'll have time, I think. We don't have to leave the library immediately in the next episode. But I did want to get to like the main part of what you're
Yeah,
going
yeah.
for. Chenpo, the spirit fox, brings you to a section of books that is all about rituals. There are like meditation rituals. There are rituals to try and like connect with the spirit world, something that like a lot of airbenders can do. There are rituals to try and like contact your ancestors and see if you can get information from them. And it is in this section of books that Chenpo brings you to, and he jumps up and grabs a book off of the shelf and brings it to you. And it is a book that details a binding ritual. It doesn't go into too much detail into what exactly it does or how to perform it, because the author of this ritual was concerned that this knowledge would be used poorly.
It's fair.
So, other than a general description of that it is some sort of binding ritual, it has 5
To bind
ingredients
what to what?
that is left ambiguous intention.
It is redacted. It's actually redacted. It's not written in. The whole book is just redacted. You're just flipping through it, and it's just like page after page blacked out.
Yeah.
Great.
You find a list of 5 ingredients. You find number 1 is a rare northern water tribe lily, frozen in the spirit waters of the mystical spring on the water tribe's sacred island. Yeah, that might ring some bells.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2,
Yes.
the ashes of a dragon who died in ritualistic combat. Number 3, a bottle of wind from the highest point in the world. Number 4, a stone buried since the time of the ancestors. And the last ingredient is something called the blood key.
Oh my god.
Oh. I got an idea for what
I have an idea for what that is.
Also, Justin, while you said that there was a ritual for contacting your ancestors.
Yeah.
I want to pull that out. Chae pulls that book out.
Okay.
He turns to Rozuk. Hey, Rozuk.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could use something like this to like talk to the first Fire Nation Emperor. That'd be pretty cool.
See, for some reason, I knew you would react like this when you found out my lineage.
Well, it's bad?
Cool. No, it's not bad. It's really cool. You're right. You're right.
This is a cool thing. You're like a prince.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not, but like you, like it's almost like you are.
I'm like Prince. You don't have to be good. Okay, sorry. So what are you thinking? Just copy it down?
Yeah, why not? Yeah,
okay.
Give it a shot.
Okay, yeah.
We'll say she did that before the revelation drop of the list, because I think he would be kind of quiet after that.
Yes.
Because Chae also has ideas.
Yeah.
You learn. The fox puts the book back after you copy it down, and he takes you to one last spot. He takes you to a giant star map. Here. And it fiddles around with some of the levers and dials, and you can see the sky moving above you. And on the day that it shows you, you see hundreds of meteors shooting past the Earth. And that is the information that Iron gathered here in his time at Wan Shitong's library. And now it is up to you to figure out, what is he up to? Can you beat him to it? Or how do you stop him? And we will pick it up next week. Thank you so much for listening to the Flying Bison Podcast. We hope you're having a ton of fun playing with us, listening to us play. We love all of you. Thanks for exploring the Four Nations with us. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
The Flying Bison Podcast is an independent podcast. If you feel like directly supporting the show, please check out our Patreon. While the Flying Bison Podcast seeks to emulate the tone of Avatar: The Last Airbender, this is an improv tabletop role-playing game, and the actors may briefly depict scenes with more mature story elements. Avatar Legends is developed and produced by Magpie Games. The worlds of Avatar: The Last Airbender and Avatar: The Legend of Korra are property of Viacom CBS. Intro music is Dizu by Senbei, and outro music is Tokyo Funk by LATG Music. Logo and art by Cate and Matthew Mahnke. You can find more of their work at pomakin.com. Link in the show notes.